Proposition 2, public safety, $12.6 million. What is the League of Women Voters? We're a 150-year-old nonpartisan, nonprofit organization. We advocate for issues, but not for candidates or politicians. What is this tax? This tax would start April 1st, 2022. What is on the ballot? 14 propositions have been proposed in 4 broad categories. Each must receive a majority of votes to be approved. And who's presenting? Dr. Mark Rennie, Cheyenne City Council, and Gunnar Malm, Laramie County Commission. Welcome. I'm Rosalind Shalisky, Secretary of the Cheyenne League of Women Voters. Assisting is our Zoom master, Dr. Karen Meister-Emmerich, Vice President of the Cheyenne League. Along with the members, we thank you for your interest in this election for the Laramie County 1% specific purpose sales and use tax, also known as the 6th penny tax. Proposition 2 is about public safety, and it's all related to projects in the county. And so Gunnar is going to talk about these, and there's water and IT and sheriff and coroner and emergency management, all kinds of public safety. You want to take those?
Certainly, and appreciate the opportunity. So there we have, roughly $12.6 million in the public safety category. The first item there being just over $1 million for the town of Pine Bluffs to extend water coverage to their northern development that they're working on. This is an up-and-coming housing development that'll add workforce housing in the town of Pine Bluffs. And obviously, part of that conversation is the need for fire protection. So this will allow for water, hydrants, everything that's needed there to protect that neighborhood as it's developed. The next piece is a drone for the GIS cooperative. This is kind of a multi-use piece of equipment. We're able to use this to map parts of the county and take visuals to ascertain rural water supplies using the drone. We also utilize this for development purposes, planning, and then additionally, we can work cooperatively with the sheriff's department and fire departments to assess fire crime scenes. So that is what that part is for. We have $2 million, $2.5 million for Laramie County IT. This is for our infrastructure upgrade. Obviously, we have quite a bit of public records, and to maintain those records as required by state law, we need sufficient computer storage capacity and software upgrades. And just as everybody knows at home, when they have to go and buy a new computer every 2 to 3 years or however long, the county's no different. And so this is really our interior IT sector, our servers, things like that, that'll help protect data, information, and allow us to continue to operate as a county, providing all the services that we do. The $279,000, this is another one that's kind of a joint project between the City of Cheyenne, Board of Public Utilities, and the county. This will complete a fiber optic loop that adds redundancy. So in the event that we have some sort of internet failure or communication failure in our first loop, we are still able to operate because we have the redundancy that goes from the county building to the library to BOPU, and then I believe to the City of Cheyenne, and then to the county building. So now we'll have 2 loops, and this completes that. So just again, helps with redundancy. $3.5 million to the Laramie County Sheriff's Department for various upgrades to equipment. Again, we always see radios. There's also additional HVAC work that needs to be done. Everyone will remember that the last 6th penny ballot, we approved an expansion of the jail. And while we were able to take care of much of the expansion infrastructure with HVAC and everything like that, there are components and pieces of the HVAC system for other parts of the jail that we were not able to accomplish with the amount of money that was allotted for that project. So this allows us to fully take care of those older pieces that are, aging out, as Dr. Rennie mentioned about their fire stations, as well as some security concerns. Everybody's familiar with the glass brick wall as you go up Pioneer and around on 19th Street. That kind of presents some security concerns, especially as it's been there longer. The grout's failing. And so we're going to look at replacing that with a more secure kind of traditional wall space. Next, we have $380,000 for the coroner's office. This one is in relation to the coroner currently shares building space with the emergency management building, as well as county planning out at the Archer Center. And unfortunately, the HVAC centers or systems are all connected. And so as you can imagine, sometimes coroners deal with odors that are not pleasant. And unfortunately, some of those odors escape through the HVAC system into the planning department and into the emergency management. The county has tried for 3 years since I've been on the commission to remedy this through grants. We've applied for basically every federal grant, state grant available, and have been unsuccessful. So we decided that this was an opportune time to ask the voters to go ahead and help us remedy this for the people that work in the planning department, as well as the customers that go in there. Next, we have $4 million for an emergency management and Cheyenne-Laramie County Health Department Joint Powers Board storage building. The pandemic has shown us that those two entities do a lot of work, and they do a lot of work together. Everybody's familiar with the large comms van that is present at pancake breakfasts, the parades, large scale events throughout the community. Currently, we lease a space from a private individual where we store that during the year. The rent is quite substantial, and the building doesn't accommodate all of our needs. The pandemic showed us that we could get large shipments of PPE, as well as vaccines that need to be secured at all times. And we were not able to do that and accommodate that in the space we're currently renting. The county has ample acreage at Archer, as well as EMA is located there. So we thought it was a good opportunity to make a building there that could accommodate the needs of EMA, Cheyenne-Laramie County Health, as well as we've been in conversations with the state and the Department of Homeland Security about how we could partner together and allow them to utilize some of that space for their needs as well. And then, sorry, my iPad just.
The last one is the $710,000 for the warning sirens and the emergency alert system.
Correct. And so every six penny, at least the last couple that I can remember, we have an item like this. As our community grows and new subdivisions pop up around the county, the need for more tornado sirens to protect those communities in the event of a tornado or other weather disaster are needed. So this allows for the infrastructure to be put in to service those towers, as well as additional towers in those areas, upgrades of existing towers throughout the city of Cheyenne and Laramie County, and just allows us to continue to protect our community.
So going back to the Pine Bluffs project, is that a subdivision already existing, or do they want to build it?
So you'll notice throughout a number of these ballot items, as you watch other videos in this series, that there are a number of projects that are tied to this northern development in Pine Bluffs. Okay. Unfortunately, they don't have the developer base like we would in a city of Cheyenne, or the demand to have a private developer come in and help with some of these infrastructure matters. And so you'll see a number of projects that allow for this expansion of the city of or town of Pine Bluffs on town-owned land north, which would be in between the railroad tracks and the distillery that's out there north of Pine. So it's a combination of, it's town-owned, and they're trying to put in the infrastructure so that then they can sell lots, recoup costs, and get some housing in their community.
Mm-hmm. One question that we've asked is, what happens if we don't get some of these projects? And in particular, I'm looking at the information technology and the fiber loop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these are interesting ones because obviously we had to start this ballot well before we knew what the federal government was doing with ARPA, which is the newest incantation of the recovery plan from the federal government in response to COVID. So there are some items throughout the ballot that, if unfortunately the voters didn't see a real value in, that we could potentially use some ARPA money to start those projects. It certainly wouldn't be enough to finish all of them that need to be done. So IT and connectivity is one that you might be able to make work, but again, like anything with the federal government, the guidance is constantly changing as to what is available and what is an allowable use. So in an effort to make sure that we get the project done, we thought the easiest, cleanest way was to ask the voters to invest in their community and help us to continue to provide these services.
League members, do you have any questions?
Well, Ross, this is Marguerite Herman. Just
Yes.
kind of more of an observation that almost everything on this list, I think if I were a voter in Laramie County, I mean, there's a benefit to almost every corner of the county in this, because we all are invested with public safety and the sirens, the optic loop, really. And even in Pine Bluffs, I think we all have a vested interest in helping that community grow safely and with a good water system. So this grouping, I think, is one particularly where you could say there's really something in there for everybody in this county. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, Marguerite, and I appreciate that. I believe that as vital as all of the projects are, all 14 propositions and the numerous items contained within a lot of them, I think we can't lose sight of what the 6 penny means to our small communities in Laramie County. The city of Cheyenne, Laramie County benefit tremendously from a large population base that pays 5th penny sales tax, pays other sorts of taxes, large property tax basis. But our small communities really require the 5th and 6th penny and the projects that are on the 6th penny to survive. It's not these can help Cheyenne and Laramie County thrive, but they really do allow a town like Albin to make necessary changes and infrastructure upgrades to just survive. And I really appreciate the voters of the past that have continually supported our small communities. I know it's a two-way street, and it really is about Laramie County investing in their neighbors, and I'm just appreciative of that.
And I would think those comments should be kept in mind as we go through all the different propositions. There's a lot of those, the groupings, especially I'm thinking of Proposition 6, which is full of taking care of really a cluster of needs in all the cities of Laramie County. So we'll keep that in mind as we go through all the other propositions. Thank you.
Thank you, Marguerite. And thank you, Commissioner Malm. Thank all of you on behalf of the Cheyenne League of Women Voters for providing valuable voter information. And finally, to our Laramie County voters, remember, your vote is your voice, so use it. When is the election? It's going to be Tuesday, November 2nd. When is early voting? It's already started and will continue through November 1st at the Laramie County Governmental Complex. How do you vote by absentee ballot? Well, you can request a ballot, but you need to do it quickly because it takes 7 to 10 days for your ballot to arrive and another 7 to 10 days for it to be received in the clerk's office. You could also take that absentee ballot and deliver it to the clerk's office or drop it at the convenient secure drop box on Cary Avenue. And is an ID required? It is now. Wyoming law now requires an ID before voting in person on election day or during early voting. And here are the IDs that are allowed. Your vote is your voice. Use it.